what are we making today? Stay tuned. Yes, today we are making a snowman, and he is a lovely little guy, and with the hat he's approximately 12 inches tall, so he's a nice size. And to make this project a little more special and a little more Christmassy, we are going to put this little guy on a plinth. Now I have the option of using 2 items for a plinth. Now this one is going to be a bit more difficult for you to get, and this is the bottom of an old sofa, and when I see things that I think I can repurpose, I ask if I can have them. But this one is off an old sofa that we had to get rid of. It had gone over, so I have a few of these, and this is about 7 inches by 5 inches, and if you sit your little man on there like that, it's difficult to see from that angle, but as you can see, he's kind of like that. Makes it more of an ornament and a little bit more substantial. He's definitely not going to wobble about on that. But I've come up with something a little more accessible for you guys, and this is what it is. It's a book. Indeed, it's exactly the same size, 7 inches by 5 inches. And if we sit our little guy on there, we get the same effect, and I think for Christmas that is going to be an absolute delight. We're going to add some gold ribbon to stop the book from flopping open. Okay, and I think that's going to be really, really nice. You can use any book, of course you can. You could cover it with some Christmas fabric, Christmas paper, if it's going to be strong enough to last over time and not get damp, wet or marked. And of course, if you could find a Christmas book, then the spine would reflect the fact that it's a Christmas book. This one has got an acorn, or the acorn winter on it, which is kind of apt. So it'll do for what I want to do. But many of your charity shops and thrift stores will have something, I'm sure, in a 5x7 or 8x6 size book that you can utilise for this purpose. So let's crack on with the make. And for this project you're going to need white yarn, and I've used an Aran weight yarn for that. You're going to need a scissors, a darning needle or tapestry needle, pom-pom makers if you're opting to do traditional pom-poms, some gold ribbons to tie around the book if you opt to do that. You don't need to do that, but it looks really nice. Some orange yarn for the nose, some black yarn for the mouth detail, and some safety eyes. I'm using them. Unless you want to embroider safety eyes, you can do that, of course. And these are 18mm safety eyes. And the ones I used on this snowman are 15mm plain black eyes. These have got a little bit more detail in them, and I got these from AliExpress. You're also going to need your 46 or 48 circular knitting machine and a 22-pin circular knitting machine. And a book or plinth, 7x5 or 8x6 if you're opting to pop him onto a plinth to make him a little bit more ornamenty and a little bit more posh. Woo, posh, I like posh. To start our project, we're going to make the body and head in one go, and this is 110 rows on the Addi 46. Double it up as if you're making a beanie, so just put one end inside the other, and we're going to cinch the inner part and then cinch the outer part. This is exactly the same way as we're going to make the beanie as well for the hat at the end, so it's the same procedure. So this is the way I do it. If you've got a different way that works for you, then carry on and do it that way. We all got our own ways of doing things. So just cinch them both together, making those gathers nice and neat if you can. There we go. I'm going to cut some of my tail off here because it's a little bit too much. I don't need all of that, and I can keep those strings for a little bit later on, which will be very handy. And all I do is I tie my two ends together like that to secure. And I'll double check on the inside then to make sure that it's gathered nicely, that it's not crimped, and there's a little bit of a crimp there. I'll just pop that in there like that, make sure it's neat and tidy, and now it is. Back to tying together, let's make sure that's really nice and pulled together tight there. 2 knots, and then I'll do a third wrap around twice knot. Okay, now you've got the option of feeding these tails in to the inside or just turning your work inside out. I'm going to feed my tails this time because this yarn was not the best on my machine, And the first half went really swimmingly well and we got a nice knit fabric, and the other half was absolutely horrible and I had lots of tucked stitches and things like that. But as it's the liner, we're not going to see it, so I won't tell if you don't. Okay, so there we go. Not even going to cut my tail off. Stretch our work out, and there's our really long beanie, and we're going to do the hat. Okay, that's exactly how we make the hat, exactly the same way. It's just that when we end up with that shape, we can add a pom-pom on the top, and of course it'll be a little bit shorter. So moving on to making this into our snowman head and body, we are going to put one of the tails that we just chopped off onto a darning needle. Like that. Perfect. That to one side for a second. Now we're going to need our ruler or our measuring tape, and we are going to measure down from the top. And we are going to put a marker, and I'm going to use a pin from the top edge, approximately 3.5 inches down from the top. That's my marker there. Okay, and we are going to run a drawstring now around that mark, and that's going to separate the head from the body. So start anywhere, it doesn't really matter. I'll take that out now because I know where I'm going. And I'm going to go under 2 stitches, over 2, or thereabouts, without my glasses on. And all the way around. Leave a tail. And we'll end up coming right back there, and we'll have our drawstring put in. Trying to keep it straight. To the beginning, a little bit wonky there, doesn't really gonna matter. Okay, so there's our drawstring in place. Next step now is to stuff the bottom half. So grab your stuffing and fluff it, fluff it, fluff it, fluff it. Now, stuffing this is going to be to your particular liking. I've put quite a bit in the bottom of mine, but play it by ear. I like to push it out to the sides first, to make sure that the sides are all nice and filled out. We haven't got any air gaps or anything like that. Okay, now that's kind of plump, but I'm going to put a little bit more in. Tear it apart there like that, make sure it's all no lumps and bumps in it. And I even put in some of my trimmings, you know, from bits of yarn and things like that. Use that up, not to waste anything. There we go, we leave it like that for now, and we're going to pop the eyes in. It seems to stand a little better to pop the eyes in, that's the way I work, but you can put the eyes in first before stuffing if that's the way you want to work. And to put the eyes on, we're going to put them in about 7 rows down from the top and 5 rows apart. Okay, so I'll grab my eyes now and we'll fit those. 7 rows from the top or thereabouts, anywhere on your circle, it doesn't matter. It's for the first eye, and then we'll take the measurement from that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so roughly there. But you position your eyes somewhere else, or to suit yourself, if that's what you want to do. And make sure now that the pupil is pointing inwards like that. Do the same then with the other one. And then what's going to happen is the nose will go there, and we'll sew the nose on a little later. Now then, to put the backs on, these are the backs. Oh, there we go. Clips in really nicely, actually. And hopefully we won't have bulky eyeballs. So, there we are. Oh, there we are. It does actually go in really tight if you push it all the way. So there's our eyes done there. Okay, so now to finish the stuffing, and we're going to pull our drawstring in a little bit to give us the difference between the neck and the head. Okay, and you can push your stuffing down then to suit yourself. That's a really nice feel on that. So I'm going to pull my drawstring. I'm going to trim that off a little bit because it's a little bit too long, so I'll move my needle down a little bit and chop that off. Pull that drawstring in. I'll just take that needle off for a minute, make it a little bit easier. Pull that drawstring in like that. You can shape that then. It's sticking quite nice. Push that stuffing down there if you want to, so you can see down there and you can see the neck hole there. When you are happy then with the size and dimension of yours, you can tie that off. We don't want a really skiddy neck, we do want to leave a chunky neck so that it'll take the scarf really nicely. So I'm going to tie that off now. I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to hide my tail inside. Just going to pop that in there like that. Same with the other one. Oops, it'd be handy if I caught the right tail, wouldn't it? Not the offcut. Same with the other one. Pop that in there like that. And we can trim them off. That's that done there. And this is your last chance to double check the stuffing in the body part, because you can still get down that hole there to put some more stuffing in if you feel yours needs it. This one I'm kind of happy with. I repositioned my eyes slightly because they were a little bit too close together. So remember, they've got to be 4 rows apart. Okay, so I've got about 4 or 5 rows apart there. It will come apart a little bit more when we fill it later. So next stage is to add a drawstring, and I go under 2 and over 2 all the way around the top edge. Back to the beginning, leaving a tail of course, because we need 2 tails in order to pull the work together. And there we are, back to the beginning. And that's our drawstring done and dusted. So what we need to do now is to fill the head section. Again, it's going to be to your taste, so fluff your stuffing to get some air in it and make it nice and fluffy and wuzzy. And I'm going to take a ball about so big, difficult to tell, but it's like as much as you can put in between 2 hands. Put that in there, same as you did with the body. Push it to the outer edges like that, and then squish it, and by feel that needs a little bit more, so now I'm going to pop some more into the centre there like that. Again, by feel, is it squidgy enough? I'm going to go for it and put a little bit more in, and then the drawstring will squish it all together. We'll have a nice tubby little head on our snowman. There we go. So we'll gather that in now, and there's our little snowman face there like that. His little eyes are ever so cute because they're pointing inwards. They've got such a lot of character to them. But on the other one I just used a plain black eye, and that looks really nice as well. So cinch, I'm going to spin it a little bit to hold it in place while I put another knot in. And any little hole that you're left with you can close with a few knots and stitches. And I've still got my needle on one of the ends here, so I'm just going to do that now to close it up. We are putting a hat on there, not the end of the world. Now whether you fix the hat down or whether you leave it just sitting on the top, that's going to be entirely up to you. But I'm just going to put a few stitches across there now to close that up nice and tidily there. Oh, he's looking rather cute. And what I find is every time you make one of these, they all got a different character. They all look slightly different. And that's what's so lovely about handmade things, isn't it? They're never, ever identical. Not in my experience, anyway. So I will tie that off once more. And then we will feed our tails in. You'll probably do a much neater job than I am. I always feel like I'm rushing when I'm on camera. But there we go, one tail hidden, and we'll snip him off. Job done. And we do the same with the other tail now. Now if you want to do a slightly bigger snowman, you can do. This is 110 rows, but you could do 120, 130, 140 rows if you want to. All you need to do in that respect is to decide where you want to put the neck section. So the bigger you go, the lower down you'll have to put the neck section. So not a grand job on the top on my part, but it will do for the purpose of the video. So there we go. There's our snowman so far. Great, great, great. We move on to doing the nose now. So moving on to the nose, this is 15 rows on a 22 pin machine, okay? And I didn't cast on with waste yarn, I winged it, and what I've done is I've cinched one end and put a knot in it and left my tail. And the other end with the tail I just slip stitched across the top there, okay? But you can cast off with waste yarn if you prefer to do it that way and seal the end up. That's entirely up to you. So in order to do the nose, and I like a long nose, okay, but this is 10 rows. This is going to give us a shorter nose. So if you want to do a shorter nose, by all means do that. But I'll run you quickly now through the way I slip stitched the end, just so you know exactly what I did with that one. Grab my needle. And this is the end that we're going to slip stitch. Now you can, like I said, cast off with waste yarn if you prefer. But I was being lazy and trying to do a quick job. And try and get it kind of straight and flat, as it would look if you did cast off with waste yarn. Okay, and it probably is a better bet if you do that, to be honest. But if you want to do it the quick and quick fix way, which is, I like quick fix, it's great. Just slip stitch all the way across, like that. Kind of close together, close to the edge. Because this is the part that's going to be sewn onto the face of the snowman. So by the time you mattress stitch it on, you're not going to see much of it anyway. Thread that back on there. Popped off on me. And excuse my fingers, guys, I've been so busy around the house and the garden. I'm not one to wear gloves, so my hands do get a bit worse for wear. So that's what I do. I just slip stitch all the way across like that, and I could have done with a slightly longer tail, but hey ho, we'll make it work. So that's the way I did it. It's a little bit rougher than a normal waste yarn cast off, but it will do for what we want to do. And that gives you 10 rows, will give you a nose of approximate 1.5 to 2 inches long. I'd say more like the 1.5 by the time you sew it on. And 15 rows is going to give you an almost 3-inch nose. Now I quite like the large nose, so I'm going to go with that one. So putting the tail on the darning needle, and this is from the cinched end, we're going to push it in as much as we can in order to make the point. So I'm going to roll mine in like that, and then roll it again like that. Okay, and this is going to give us the point, but we're not going to take that all the way up. We're going to start there, put a stitch in it like that, and then mattress stitch up only so far, and then we'll add a little bit of stuffing. So the mattress stitch is going to be a little ad hoc because we're not running in a straight line as such, so do your best. hopefully we'll get a point out of that then, which we can use for our carrot nose. There we go, and then you get that kind of a shape there. And as you're coming up then, you're going to be more flayed like that. So get a little bit of stuffing, not too much, just enough to fill out that, that little bit there. Okay, pop it down, and squish it all together and finish mattress stitching it up. Now how big you want your nose to be at the top will be, again, a little bit down to your choice. You can carry on folding it in if you want to, like that, folding it in a little bit and mattress stitching it up a little bit like that. So it's not quite so big when you get up to the top, which is what I'm going to do. And that'll help the nose keep its carroty look, I think. And we're going to put the seam pointing downwards, so I'm not going to worry too much about being super duper duper excellent with my mattress stitch. I'm not very good at it anyway. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Up to there. Now on the other one I crocheted the nose because my crochet is improving slightly, so I did have a go at coming up with a crochet nose. And then I thought, well, not everybody crochets, because I never used to crochet either. So let's do one on the 22 pin, and hopefully we'll get a similar result, and I'm happy with that. Now that is, like I said, a long nose, okay? That's almost 3 inches. That may be too long for you, in which case go for the 10 rows and not the 15. That's going to give us that kind of carrot nose, which is a really long conch on there, okay? I'll make the other one up now, and we'll do a comparison, and then it'll give you an idea of which one you'd prefer to add onto your snowman. So as this nose is a smaller nose, I'm not going to add any stuffing. I'm just going to fold in the edges there to get up the top. And I think that's going to give us quite a nice nose as well. So no need to add any stuffing, in my opinion, unless you want to, of course, to a nose if you're doing 10 rows. So let's see how that's looking. There you go. That's that nose there. That's a 10-row nose. Does look slightly stretched out, but that's fine, that's fine. No need to add stuffing to that one. It's going to be too bulky, I think, if you do. And let's do a comparison now of what nose looks best. And there's a 10-row nose. And there's a 15-row nose, which is really, really long. So it depends on what size carrot you fit to your snowman that you build in the garden. Okay, so I think we might go for the smaller one this time. What do you think? Yeah, smaller one? Yeah, let's go for the smaller one. So what we need to do now is to mattress stitch this onto the face of our snowman. And what we do for that is we just, with the seam facing downwards, so any dodgy looking stitching can get hidden there. Okay, and we're going to pop it right smack bang in front of the eyes like that. Sorry, in the middle of the eyes, like that, just at the bottom of the eyes. But if you want to position yours lower down, higher down, sorry, lower down or higher up, you could do that. But I'm going to put mine about there and just mattress stitch it into place. So that's what I'm going to do now. Started, and we'll knot that off and hide the tail then. there. Hide the tail. Bring it down in the neckline area. Chop that off. Great stuff. And there's our little nose on our little snowman. Quite easy to do on the 22 pin, and that's the 10 row nose. And if you want a gigantic one, that would be the 15 row nose, or anywhere in between if you prefer. You could do 12 rows, I guess, if you wanted to. So that's our carrot on our snowman. So now all we need to do is to finish him off and add the scarf and the little hat. Now I've made my hat and my scarf already, but all you need to do is to make it up like you would a little beanie, okay? And I did 60 rounds for this one, okay? 60, so anywhere between 50 and 60, and I stuck to a DK weight for this one. I didn't want too much weight on the top of the snowman's head. And on the 22 pin machine, I knitted up 110 rows for this one because I had a little bit of yarn left on the ball, so I just let it run. So 110, and what you'll end up then is 2 ends like that, and cinch that end like that. Couple of knots and stitches. Same with that one. Cinch that, couple of knots and stitches. Stretch it out, and you've got yourself a little scarf. Okay, so that's all you need to do for the scarf. And for this scarf, I added 2 little pom-poms on a mini pom-pom maker. So we're going to put our scarf around our snowman, and I like to pop him under there like that. Tie it down. So he's got 2 little strands of his scarf hanging down. Of course, the longer you do the scarf, the more of a hang down you'll have, but this is what 110 rows gets you. Okay, and then just add the little hat. I've tied it on so the bow on the underneath there, okay, and I made a traditional pom-pom. So we're going to pop his hat on. Goes right down the back of his hat, his head rather. And this is 60 rows, so you could maybe get away with doing less rows in a DK. Maybe 50 to 55 would also work if you're trying to stash bust and get rid of some of your yarns and things like that. So there's our snowman. Oops, and his hat fell off. So there's our snowman. We shall put his hat back on. Now, whether you add a few stitches to secure the hat in place, you can just lift up and do a few stitches underneath there with mattress stitch. I'll leave that to you. I'm going to leave mine loose because if you have different hats and different scarves, like I have here, okay, so I have another hat, I can change the hat and scarf around then. So if you're going to make and sell these, okay, it's a bit late in the month now, I know, towards Christmas, but I was making one for myself and I thought, oh, I'll do a little video on it as well, just in case anybody else wants to make one. You could also sell separate hats and scarves, like that, just do that quickly, and then you'll have a completely different looking snowman. Do you see? And these are so quick to whip up. So that's just an option for you. Don't attach them, and then you can offer extra sets of hats and scarves to give their snowmans a different look. Snowmen, different look. There we go. So we're sticking with red on this one at the moment, but I do like the blues as well. And there's our little guy done. And what we need to do now is to add him onto the plinth. And I'm going to use a book, and we're going to need some pretty seasonal ribbons, and we shall do that next. Before we move on to the book, I nearly forgot the very, very important smile, okay? So I've got a length of black, I think this is chunky yarn, but Aran would be just as great, and even DK would be fine. I'm going to come in from the right-hand side as I'm looking at my piece, and I'm going to come across there where I want the little jaunty smile to be. So I'm going to come across there like that and pop out there. So you can see it's just to the left of the nose there. I'm going to leave a tail. Okay, it's probably about a 5-6 inch tail. I'm going to go there-ish, I think. Yeah, I'm going to go just about a centimetre to the right, and then I'm going to come just down there like that. Okay, so that's his little smile. And then I'm going to, with my other hand, come across there like that and out where I came in. Exactly where I came in. Has to come out exactly the same point. pull through. And then we get that cute little smile there. Okay. I think that's really, really cute. So we can adjust then the tension of our smile. And we're going to tie that off. Simple dimples. Oops, we did a bit of a thingy there. So we're going to tie that off there. And then we'll hide our tails inside. And pulling through them, we'll pull that knot inside into the stuffing. So here we go. Through the same hole again and just pull it out somewhere. And I think to pull it through on the neck area is good, just in case there's a little bit of the black showing through, because it can do sometimes. Pull that through like that. Same with the other tail. Hide it in the neck area just in case that black does peek through the white a little bit, and then we can hide that then a little bit with the scarf. So pull that then, pull that a little bit, snip that, and it should disappear inside there like that. There's a little bit of it, but not too bad. And then grab our needle and fluff that a little bit. And sometimes you can't help with the black, it will poke through, so push it into the stuffing a little bit to hide it. I think you can also buy like a fabric paint if you prefer to do it with a fabric paint. That would be fine as well. So that's our little snowman smile there. He's very, very happy to be out in the cold and the snow. Like my dog Charlie. He loves it because he's got so much fur. So back on with the hat and moving on to the book. And the book is completely optional. Of course, you've got your snowman made. He's perfectly fine like that. But the book is a nice little touch, I think. So I've got my ribbon here, and I've opted for 1.5 inch wide gold thread to match the outside of my book. Now I don't want to wreck this book, this is part of a collection, but this is purely just to show you what I am going to do with the plinth, or another book that's not quite so important to me at the moment. I'm going to wrap one piece around there like that. Okay, this is what I would do. I'm going to pop a pin in for purposes here, alright, but you could glue this now with some hot glue. Okay, so I'm going to do that. That needs to be a little bit tighter, actually a lot tighter. And this is to stop the book from flopping open if you do opt to use this as a display, or to sell it, or use it as part of your decor. I'm just going to snip that off there, and I'm going to do the same then the other side, because the book will tend to open, and we don't want that to happen when we got our snowman on it. So again, what I would do then is just put another pin in there like that. Actually, I'll pin them all together, that would be a good idea. Pin them all together like that, with the joins on the top where your snowman's going to sit, so you won't see them. And then you'll have a nice little flat area underneath. You do a better job than I am, because you'll be good doing a permanent job. And this is just a quick job to show you what I would do. Okay, so you've got your ribbon there that's going to stop, and it'll be tight. When you do it, it'll be tight. So the book won't open. Alright, and then we're going to take our little guy, and again, you could put some hot glue around the base there, and just pop him on in the centre of the book like that, and leave it set until it's all gone off. And then what you'll have is that effect. You'll have the book and the snowman all together like that, and I think it looks absolutely delightful. What do you think? Do you like the book idea or not? I think it's an easily accessible thing for everyone. Like I said, I've done a quick job there just to show you, because I don't want to permanently use the book this time until I pick up one in the charity shop or something that isn't quite so important to me. But it just gives you the idea. So I hope you like this project. If you do, please give the video a little like, and if you haven't subscribed, press the subscribe button and the bell icon, and then you'll get notified for when I upload new videos. So if I don't see you now before Christmas, have a very, very happy Christmas 2023, and I'll see you in the new year. I am hoping to bring out another pattern to you, but I am running short of time now. But you never know, I might see you before Christmas. Have a good one, and thanks for your continued support, everyone. It's very much appreciated. And if you do fancy giving a little donation to a local animal shelter to you, that would be absolutely fantastic. All the best. Ta-ra now. Hwyl nawr. Nadolig llawen. Merry Christmas.